Preaching to the choir, the health benefits of singing. This is going to be interesting. I like to sing. All right. So in 2013, and just as a reminder, when they put these numbers in brackets here, they're numbering the sentences in this paragraph. That's different than when they put the numbers in these gray boxes. That's when they're going to refer to actual questions. And in general, when they start putting, they don't do these for all of the sentences in these passages, but when they do these, they tend to do them for the sentences in a paragraph. And they'll probably ask us some question about whether a sentence is appropriate in a certain place or should it be moved around somehow. So let's put ourselves in that frame of mind, especially for this first paragraph that ends with this kind of question one. So question one is probably going to refer to the sentence structure or order in this paragraph. So let's read it. In 2013, 32.5 million adults in the United States, roughly 10% of the population, sang in choirs, and England is home to more than 3,000 active choral groups. All right, a lot of people in the United States and England sing in choirs. Choir singing is a popular pastime. Well, they've already established that choir, this data right here is kind of telling us that choir singing is a popular pastime. I almost feel like this sentence maybe should go before that, if you said choir singing is a popular pastime, and then you give the evidence. In 2013, 32.5 million adults in the United States, roughly 10% of the population, sang in choirs, and England is home to more than 3,000 active choral groups. Makes sense to me that sentence two should actually go first. These singers often report an increased sense of well-being and camaraderie. But does this hobby actually result in better health? According to multiple scientific studies, singing, especially with others, provides concrete benefits to the heart and brain, which I happen to believe as well. So let's see, I'm guessing, not even looking, I'm avoiding looking at this just yet, that they're going to ask us about sentence two because it feels like it has to go first. To make the paragraph most logical, sentence two. I was right, and I'm serious. I didn't look at this beforehand. So I like to do this real time so that I can empathize. Sentence two should be placed at the beginning of the paragraph for sure. That establishes that choir singing is a popular pastime. Then they give evidence that it's a popular pastime. And then, here we're talking about the number of singers, and then they reference these singers. So it makes sense that two goes first, then one, then three. On to the second paragraph and the second question. A 2013 study at Sweden's University of Gothenburg examined the heart rates of 18 young people as they sang and hummed for unison. All right, for just sounds strange. You don't do things for unison, you do things in unison. And so let's see, question two, well, that's going to be in unison. And that's just a standard convention. If you're talking about doing something, you won't say for unison or on unison or at unison. You say, hey, we're going to do this in unison. So that for sure is going to be in. Let's actually keep going. I think we can do question three in this video too. Heart rate variability, HRV, the increase and decrease in heart rate occurred simultaneously with subjects' slowed breathing while singing. This combination of fluctuating heart rate and slowed breathing are called respiratory sinus arrhythmia, and it has been proven to reduce the likelihood of cardiovascular disease, a prior finding independent of the 2013 study. All right, so this R is off because they're talking about what's the subject of the sentence. It's this combination of fluctuating heart rate and slowed breathing. They're talking about what this combination is about, but the subject is this combination, and that's singular. We're talking about this combination. There's a combination here, and so if it's singular, if we say this combination are respiratory sinus arrhythmia, no, you'd say this combination is called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. So this is going to be is right over here. So is called, because it's a singular. This combination is called respiratory sinus arrhythmia, and it has been proven to reduce the likelihood of cardiovascular disease, a prior finding independent of the 2013 study. So the way it's written right now is really with, there's no pause here. I like to just kind of pause after it has been proven to reduce the likelihood of cardiovascular disease. And then maybe adding some context, a prior finding independent of the 2013 study. So let's see what they have here. So no change. No, I don't like that. This one, a prior finding independent of the 2013 study. That might be fine. It's a parenthetical. It's giving us a little bit of extra information, but we don't need it. So I like that. Putting a semicolon there, a prior finding independent of the 2013 study. You're adding another kind of clause there. It feels like it's just hanging at the end. No, I wouldn't do that. And then a prior finding independent of the 2013 study with a colon. Colon, I view that as kind of giving more clarification or enumeration, and this is kind of giving more clarification. But I definitely like the parentheses right over here because it's making it clear that this last part, that it has been proven to reduce the likelihood of cardiovascular disease, and they're just giving us in a parenthetical a prior finding independent of the 2013 study. We're now on question 5. People feel a keen sense of bonding when they sing together. All right, so that sentence seems like it's grammatically correct. Let's see what the question says. Which choice most effectively establishes the main topic of the paragraph? Okay, I see. They either want us to say, okay, we could have no change and say this sentence is what we would keep as our topic sentence, or maybe we would replace it with one of these other options. Well, to figure out how we could establish the main topic of the paragraph, I guess we're going to have to read the paragraph. So I would actually probably come back to question 5 after going all the way through question 9. So let's see if we can do that in this video. Singing stimulates the right temporal lobe of the brain and releases endorphins. Endorphins blunt pain and engender feelings of pleasure. So this right over here, so for number 6, to just kind of do a period and then do another sentence, it's not grammatically incorrect. I mean, it's fine to say that singing stimulates the right temporal lobe of the brain and releases endorphins. That's a sentence. And then to say endorphins blunt pain and engender feelings of pleasure. But these two sentences are very connected. In fact, this second sentence right over here is giving us clarity on what endorphins are. So I would think about kind of connecting them a little bit better. So let's see what the choices are. What the choices are here. So the first one is, well, they actually didn't put no change here. So they definitely want us to change it. I guess the way this is written. So the first choice is singing stimulates the right temporal lobe of the brain and releases endorphins, which end up blunting and engender feelings of pleasure. Now that's not right. I mean, just even saying end up blunting and engender. Those two verbs aren't even in the same tense. Blunting. Yeah, this is blunting and engender. No, it's not. It's breaking your parallel construction, so to speak. Endorphins, which blunt. Let's see. Singing stimulates the right temporal lobe of the brain and releases endorphins, which blunt pain and engender feelings of pleasure. Yeah, that one could work, and it connects them better. Let's see, C, endorphins, but they blunt. No, you don't want to contradict it. We're just explaining what endorphins do. And this last choice, endorphins and they blunt. No, I think this is very clear. When you say which blunt, you're clarifying what endorphins do. So I like B there. All right, let's keep going. So now we can go to question 7. So cortisol, a hormonal reaction to stress, and the secretion of which the brain controls, decreases after choir singing. All right, so cortisol is a stress hormone, and it decreases after choir singing. Meanwhile, oxytocin, which the brain interprets as a feeling of emotional bonding, is increased. So these are all describing ways that make people feel better. And I want to read this entire paragraph because at the end I want to go back to question 5 and think about the topic sentence. So all of these good things are happening. In a study at Oxford Brookes University, researchers surveyed 375 people who either sang alone, sang in a choir, or participated in organized sports. Those who sang in choir reported the highest levels of happiness. So everything we're talking about is, wow, this choir singing really can make people happier. So, and they're kind of citing even, chemical, we can point to chemical things happening in the brain that are actually associated with more happiness and less stress. Due to its positive side effects, therapists have used choir singing as an element for those dealing with depression and chronic pain. So I kind of like the due to its positive side effects, because that is the reason why therapists would use it. But let's just look at the look at the other the other choices. So I like due to. That's my default. So despite its positive side effects, therapists have used choir singing? No. I mean, they're using it because of the positive side effects, due to the positive side effects. This isn't a contradiction to the fact that it has positive side effects. It's not, if it was despite the fact that it's bad for people, therapists are using it, that would be a reason to use the word despite. But no, that doesn't make sense. In addition to its positive side effects, therapists have used choir singing as an element for those dealing with depression and chronic pain. Well, it's not an addition. It's giving the causality because due to its positive side effects. This is why therapists are thinking about using it as a way to deal with depression and chronic pain. And then besides, once again, it's not a besides. The therapists have used choir singing. That's because due to the positive side effects. It isn't on top of or another thing that's seemingly unrelated. So I definitely would go with no change.